What's up, guys? This is Jay from COI. So, in breaking news this weekend, we had a report that said that American intelligence had discovered that Russia had paid Afghan militants to kill U.S. troops. Essentially, they put a bounty on U.S. troops' head. And this came with a few questions. Number one, how long had this been going on? And the question had been answered that our intelligence agency had known for quite some time. Number two, why hasn't Donald Trump done anything about it? And let me just infer a couple questions myself. Number one, did Russia know about it? Why would I ask that? Um, it's fair enough to believe that an order like this could have happened at a general level. And when I mean general, I mean the general, not from the president. Meaning, Putin maybe didn't have much to do with this. It's more of a military tactic, made popular by whom? By the USA. We fight proxy wars all the time, and Russia doing the same thing is not it's not nearly as shocking as what they're trying to make it out to be. And they're really blowing this out into, oh my God, can you believe it? It's horrible, and I wish it would stop completely. But are we going to really act like this wasn't happening, I don't know, under Obama in Syria? That it was happening the first time we were in Afghanistan? Like, it's one of our biggest allies who we never ever come after is Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia employs far more terrorists that attack American soldiers than Russia and China combined. But we love Saudi Arabia because they got that sweet, sweet oil. So we don't ever talk shit on them. But this one, well, this has a double narrative, right? Because it's Russia and we can attack Trump too. Now, the Trump defense on it, I find incredibly ludicrous and really, really, for lack of a better term, I'm going to say immature. But the defense is, well, Trump didn't know. Yeah, Trump. Here's how they can square that circle. By the way, is that there were briefings that Trump wasn't required to attend. Now, every other president would have attended them. And what they're saying is that, well, Trump should have been there, but he had other stuff going on, so he didn't attend these meetings. And it was these meetings that they talked about that they discovered that Russia had put a bounty out on our soldiers and were using uh, different terrorist and militant groups to carry out these orders. I don't buy it. I Because you have to look at it in two different ways. Number one, that Trump really didn't know anything about it. So is he that clueless that we've discovered information on another country conducting a proxy war against us and you don't tell the president? You rely on him to stumble into a meeting. There's no other way you inform this guy. Uh, Pence doesn't know? Really? Come on. Now, look, like I said, proxy wars happen all the time. They're not that uncommon, but you definitely need to let your leadership know it's happening. It's not something that happens, more than once a year kind of thing. Like, it's not that common. The way they're treating it is like it is a terroristic level. And is it? Yeah, I mean, legitimately, yes. If I had my role, this wouldn't happen. This would be something that was shunned. But we do it all the time. We're doing it in Venezuela right now. We are doing it in Venezuela, Libya, um, other parts of North Africa, actually, not just in places like Libya. We're doing it in Syria right now. But again, it's still a big thing. And it's still something you would tell your president. So if you're really telling me he didn't know, well, what does that say about him as a president? If that's your defense is our president is too ineffectual and honestly pointless for us to even tell him. Doesn't matter. He's not going to do anything. And I don't completely buy that. I really don't. Um, the other reason I don't buy that excuse is because the the interactions that Trump has with his military leaders, he does talk to them quite often, and you can't tell me that it didn't come up. So that whole disagreement, or that whole argument, I should say, that he didn't know, that oblivious stand, nah, I don't buy that at all. So the other thing is, well, then Trump did nothing. That's the other big argument the left wing media has been going on. Trump hasn't responded. Trump should respond, and he should respond uh, decisively, um, urgently, and confident. No, no, not at all. Here's the thing. Russia, by the way, denies doing this. And I honestly, that I could believe. I could believe that Putin didn't know about it. There's two different sides, and I could believe that Putin wasn't the one who said, "Yeah, let's go ahead and pay militants to attack American troops." Why? Again, because it is such a tactic that is used so, in such a common place, especially over a long, drawn out war, bound to happen, and it's not the same as declaring war. And also, the chances of actually getting caught and exposed for it are so slim because of how common it is. People might dig up upon it and they're like, I mean, like I said, I just named Saudi Arabia and us and all the places that we've done this. Have you heard that on the news once? No. So for Russia's part, or at least a tactician for Russia to go, let's do it. Who cares? I could see the logic of, why even bother? We're not actually declaring war. We're just doing something that everyone else is doing. Um, but also, my whole argument as to why we shouldn't retort in some massive manner is because of what I just said. It is done everywhere. And so if President Trump comes in and says, okay, we're placing sanctions, um, economically, we're also going to do some geopolitical actions, taking over, because this is something that was brought up as a proposal. Economic sanctions, and then we go in and we take um, some of their like diplomatic privileges, including some of the domiciles in which their diplomats stay at here in America. We kick them out and we recover them for ourselves, as well as obviously overseas. We go into Afghanistan. No, Russia's got to leave. Is essentially what they're saying. That's a bridge too far in a lot of ways, and I mean that in the sense that it opens us up for that same treatment. Now, if we could all unilaterally decide, hey, we're all done with this, then of course I would agree to it. But we wouldn't. We'd be putting ourselves at a disadvantage, if I'm being honest, um, by exposing the fact that we are setting precedent there. We're saying, no, strict actions must be taken anytime another country is involved in a proxy war. What's the rest of the world going? Okay, cool. Let's go, America. Hey, Saudi Arabia. Hey, we got a complaint with you. I'm sorry, not Saudi Arabia. Obviously not Saudi Arabia. Um, Yemen, uh, Palestine, Syria. They all start jumping up. Venezuela. I said, okay, we got formal complaints with you, America, and then boom, we start. China all start throwing sanctions at us and start kicking our diplomats out of there. We don't have the same trade that we had before. We don't have that same power. And we just said, no, we're principally against this action. So this is one of those times when I think Trump doing nothing was probably the best move. But I'm curious what you guys think. How you feel about it. It's a real sticky situation, and yeah, you could take my words and say, "Oh, Jay's cool with people attacking our troops." That's not it at all. That's definitely not it at all. It literally though is kind of like saying, well, we're not supposed to use sniper rifles, and oh my God, they're using sniper, even though everyone else is using sniper rifles. That's, but I'm curious what your thoughts are on all of that. And again, very very conflicting in so many of it because at its principle, I'm highly against proxy wars. But just because we say, "Hey, Russia, you're doing a proxy war against us," we condemn that. That doesn't mean it's going to stop any of them, including the ones that we're involved in. And I don't. It's American exceptionalism, is honestly what it is, and it'll lead to either us being more hated and people saying, "Look, they they just keep tipping the scales on a global, you know, globally, they just keep tipping the scales to benefit themselves." Or they'll start calling us out on it. And we'll have to say, "Oh, yeah. No, yeah, yeah, we are doing that in about 7 other countries." So, yeah, the implications of it. I think honestly it's better for Trump just to do nothing. But yeah, I'm really curious about what your thoughts are on that one.